Hello again, folks. It's Mr. Pete, your YouTube shop teacher, and today it's the end of January 2022, and it's about 10 below out this morning, and that's Fahrenheit. I don't deal with centigrade. Yes, centigrade. You know, I don't like all these changes. Some of you might call it Celsius. When I grew up, it was centigrade. But anyway, the purpose of this video, it's not just unboxing, because I don't like that term and I don't like to methodically open a box, but I got 4 boxes here and I won't bore you with the actual opening and all of that stuff, but I want to show you these wonderful gifts from 4 different people here for my channel and my shop, and some of these are repeated donors, so I will identify them as I go along and explain all of these really neat tools that you will see here presently, so stick with me. Let's begin. Okay, this first box is from John Collings, and he's down in Florida. You might remember it, and he's the wonderful man that gave me that beautiful 9-inch South Bend lathe that's out in my garage. It's too cold to go out there today, but he did not send me a 4-jaw chuck. He sent me a 3-jaw chuck, so he asked me, do you want that 4-jaw chuck? And I said, well, heck yeah. So he sent that back up. It cost him $21.50 to do that. Now, the reason I'm kind of unboxing this, and one other one here, is to show you the great care that some people go to when they pack something, as opposed to other people who let it rattle around and break through these very thin post office boxes. So look at that. You got 1.25 inches of foam on the top, and then inside here also a lot of foam. But let's get that box out of the way, and thank you, John, ever so much. But there is a nice 4-jaw chuck that will fit on that South Bend or a Logan or an Atlas. Just the 1.5 by 8, I believe, is the thread. And this particular chuck is in real nice shape. It's made in quite high quality. Do not confuse them with something that came from communist China. So that's a nice 4-jaw. You'll see me using this from time to time, and I guess I didn't even measure it. I believe that it's probably an 8-incher. No, it's a 6-inch. Where did I come up with 8? But that's a beauty. Thank you, John. Okay, in this box are 2 collets sent to me by Mike Mallett, and he's in Ohio. Thank you for that, Mike. These are the very hard to find double angle Z size, that is Z as in zebra, and I didn't even check here. I believe that this is a 1/2 inch and this is a 3/8. A little corrosion on here, so I'll use some evaporust on that, and there is some engraving on there. But I really appreciate these, and these are to be used on my South Bend vertical mill that was given to me. I know I'm dropping names here, but by the boys over at Lost Creek Machinery. But this is the collet holder for the South Bend. It does not use R8 collets. This is a number 430 milling machine taper, driven by 2 lugs, held in the spindle by 2 screws, and it is Universal Engineering Company is the name of it. Do I have that upside down? Oh, that's hard to read. Universal Engineering Company, and the name has changed. These are still available, but they're about $50 or $60. I'll see if I can find that website for you. But, and again, this goes up into the spindle, and the collets go in like this and can then be tightened down, obviously. But I had a South Bend milling machine at the school. It was a great machine, don't get me wrong, but the kids, if I didn't watch them carefully, would put these in backwards. Now there's barely room to get it threaded on there, but you know, these are teenagers. There's no telling what they're liable to do, and of course then the tool would come loose or break off or something like that, so I had to kind of keep an eye on that. Now this Universal engineering company made these in, I think, 5 different sizes. In the past, I think I've shown you some of the other sizes. So again, thank you, Mike, for finding those hard, sending those hard to find collets to me. I did get a couple collets along with it, and I don't remember what sizes they are. And Mike sent a nice letter along with these, and I was right. This is a 3/8 collet, and this is a 1/2. Probably the 2 most common that would get used. Now the maximum size, that's one with one bad thing about this, is the maximum size is 3/4. I think we can go a little larger than that with R8 collets. All right, let's move on. Okay, the next item here is a Royal Collet closer, the lever type, for my closing lathe, given to me by Chuck Kavaznicka. Now I had him spell that for me phonetically like that, because I have one heck of a problem with Chuck's last name. Sorry, Chuck. Now Chuck is from Michigan, and you will recall he's the wonderful man that sent the closing milling machine and gave it to me, brought it down free. Well, he's sending me this now, and like he said, it's got 40 years worth of dirt from a factory on it, and it obviously is not for my exact model. It's a little long. Now you may have watched the very recent video that I made with this other hand wheel type drawbar that was given to me by Paul Brown of Orlando, and you know that may not have been released depending on when you're watching this. So you can see that it's a little long, and of course it would have to be shortened up the same as I shortened this up. Let me show you real quickly the name of this video. It's a 2-parter in case you would ever want to watch that. Here it is, number 791 on fitting the Royal Collet drawbar to the closing lathe. Luckily, Paul Brown sent me the collet adapter that goes in the spindle of the closing, along with the thread protector or the nose piece. So I'm glad to have that, or I would not be able to use this. Let me go ahead and stick this into the closing real quickly and show you how that works. Again, Royal, and this is a Royal also. They were very high-end. This would be well over $1,000 if they still made it. And they used to make these for many different lathes. Well, any lathe you can imagine. These were available from Royal. Matter of fact, originally I had a Royal Collet closer like this on my little Hardinge lathe that I have talked about recently. Okay, I'm on the outboard side of the closing 5900 12-inch lathe. And by the way, this does take 5 C collets. I'm not sure I mentioned that. And this is exactly 2 inches too long, as was the other one. But it slides in there like this. And then the lever type of operational device here, whatever we call it, goes on like that. And there appears to be the need for some kind of bracket here. I'm not sure how I would fasten it because this is fiberglass. I'm going to call it plastic. And whatever this adapter is on here, I don't know exactly what this came off of, but you can see this is kind of cobbled up and homemade, so I will have to make something homemade for this as well. But remember, I've talked about these before, that these are a little difficult to set up and time consuming to set up, and they're really meant for production, where you're going to run hundreds of parts, because you can very quickly open and close the collet just by moving the lever one way or the other, as opposed to the hand wheel type, which is probably better suited for one-of type work in the small shop. But I thank you, Chuck, ever so much for your continued support of my channel. Nice guy. Now stay with me. There is a reason why I have not opened this box yet. This was sent to me by Tim Miller, and he lives over in Indiana. I have not met him. However, we did talk on the phone for a long, long time. And there's a bunch of Collets and Collet adapters. I'm not sure, I haven't looked at them all, but the reason I'm holding off here on opening this, and he paid $16 to send this to me, is that even though I haven't met Tim, he obviously is a man that wears suspenders and a belt, but that's not even good enough for him. He also wears elasticized waistband type of trousers because he didn't take any chances, and here's why. Look at the way this is packaged with a lot of that fiberglass reinforced tape. He went to a huge effort, and when you open this up, what's inside of it? Another box. And packed in here with cardboard and all kinds of dunnage. Kind of like those Girl Scout mint cookies. Those are the only ones I like. Okay. So far you've seen the suspenders and the belt. Well, here's the elasticized waistband. There's yet a third box. 1, 2, 3. And that's what I mean by a safety man that takes no chances. And look at the way this was taped shut as well. Now I did open a couple items in here, and there are some more universal collets, but they're the much larger size. And everything else is still unwrapped, and I'm going to unpack that. Don't worry, I'm going to unpack that and get back to you in a second. Well, before I open this up, one more thing I want to show you. This is the collet adapter with a number 30 milling machine taper on it that goes into the closing milling machine, horizontal milling machine, that Chuck, who I just talked about, gave to me. And this is also universal tooling here. Not to be confused with the South Bend size, but this size uses also universal collets, and I forgot what number they are or what letter. I'll look it up here in a second. But this that just came from Indiana is the same size. So that's interesting to know, isn't it? Now I will truly open this up. Be right back. Boy, did Tim ever have these things packed. It took me about 15 minutes to open everything up, so I appreciate that. Now in there was this little fork and spoon, which I think he sent to my wife to dig out houseplants, to weed and care for your potted plants in the house. So I'll give that to my wife. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different collets. Now this is the ZZ size, which I'll explain more, and that will fit in this universal holder that goes on the closing. You can see that's the same size, so that'll be nice. And to repeat now, I know I'm repeating, but this is a number 30 milling machine taper. However, now that I'm looking at some of these other adapters here, you can see that this is larger, as is this, as are these two. So that's a number 40 milling machine taper. Number 30, 40, and then a 50 is probably the most popular one that you would see in bigger milling machines, and I don't know where. I just know 30, 40, and 50. So anyway, this one, which will not fit, uses, let's see what size collets. Oh, that uses the same size, which is kind of surprising, isn't it? Okay. And this number 40, that's kind of interesting, that this uses yet another type of collet. And there are, 3 other ones there. Tim says he's just got oodles and oodles of this tooling. Some of it he doesn't even know what it goes to. I'm not sure what this adapter holds, but this one obviously is for shell end mills. And that's a Linux from Japan, drawbar type. Remember that the one that goes into the South Bend milling machine, vertical, does not use a drawbar. That's what the little notches are for. That was probably one of the downfalls of the South Bend milling machine, the type of spindle that they used. And there's another. What does that use? That's still yet another size, isn't it? No, those don't fit in there. Oh, wait a minute, one more thing here. I almost forgot. Here's a whole bag of, I mean 6 of them. These are the Y size of the universal collets. So you can see the difference here between the 3 sizes. The question is, do these fit in there? By gosh, they do, don't they? Very interesting. Boy, there are a lot of collets and tooling here, isn't it? So thank you, Tim, and thank you to the 3 other guys for going to the effort and expense and kindness of sending me this. So really appreciate it. You'll see some of this tooling used in later videos of mine. So now let's go into extra credit, where on my tablet here I'm going to go back to that Universal website and show you the actual dimensions and different types of collets that they use, and that will be of interest to only a few of you. So if you don't stick around with me, thank you for watching. This is Mr. Pete, and I am saying I'll see you next time. Okay, I'm on the Universal website now. This is the extra credit. Universal makes many different kinds of collets, but these are the double taper collets, and they were available in 6 different sizes, and there they are, and it tells you the collet range or the maximum size of each one of these. Now I'm going to click on these one at a time, and starting with the Z, and show you the dimensions of that should you be interested. Okay, this is the size Z with a maximum of 3/4 capacity, and that is the collet that fits into my South Bend vertical milling machine, the one that I am really the most interested in. And here is a picture of the Y double taper collets, 1/2" capacity, and I just showed you 6 of those in a little plastic bag, so you can get an idea of what the size is. They're only about 1 inch long, 1 1/16. And finally, here are the double Z double taper collets. They have a 1 inch capacity. They're 2 inches long, and those are the bigger of the 3 that I showed you a minute ago.